I feel like it could be really painful on one's eyes very easily. Um, so that was, oh no, that one was called Light and Darkness. Dark Side of the Moon. Phase Out. This is the level. Phase Out right here is the level made by Turbopup. And to this day, I will still say this is a phenomenal level. It was beautiful. As far as difficulty, I don't know. Because again, I'm really bad at levels. This was one that Flame of Doubt had to test. I didn't do much testing because I warned people ahead of time once we had a co-manager. Don't trust me to do the level testing because I'm gonna always say it's too hard because I don't know much about that. I warned it in advance for a very specific reason, a very serious reason, so that people would understand that while I did have my skills when it came to the aesthetics, I wish I could have had like more of an art director kind of thing, but we had Terry who's way better at making graphics than I was, and he deserved to be art director for a reason. um, but this level, I thought that what was done with it graphically was really awesome. I thought it did some great aesthetics. You haven't seen much of it yet because Raka jumped into the pit twice. uh, there we go. Now he's past that. See, having a couple different color blocks makes it a little bit more interesting. Um, Not as plain. The fade in the water looks nice. There's a lot of nice motion. The background looks pretty. It has a lot going for it. And I don't know if this person's ever done any other levels. If they did, I hope they were even 1/5 as interesting as this level was. Because I thought this was super awesome. And then you go through these portals, and then the gimmick, I suppose, of this level is that it changes its mood, its graphical theme, its tone, its what enemies you're facing, its temperature. From the last one being all water, this one's lava. As you can see, this is lava. Up there, there's maces. This has got like little volcano plants and stuff like that. You have Fire Brothers instead. Podocats. Um, Venus Fire Traps, which is one of the sprites I added in. Pretty much all of my sprite tool and block tool experience came from this hack. At the time, those were the things you used. I don't know what you use now, but at the time, those were the things you used. Um, and they were awesome, but hard to use. They could do a lot of really nice things. They could get some interesting additions that you wouldn't have otherwise. Um, but I did not find them particularly comfortable to use. They're kind of awkward, kind of unwieldy. But I did it. For this hack, I learned how to do everything so that people could have some stuff to start with. And the base ROM had, I think, 33 sprites included. And I even hard coded in graphics for a dynamic sprite, which has only been done once by me, and it wasn't actually used in any level, which didn't surprise me. But it was an interesting thing to add, and they might have even removed it at a later point because I don't think anyone used it. Um, it was the pushing rock you get in Yoshi's Island that I added, but I learned a lot of those kind of basics for this hack, and that's why I almost did a Hacks 201, which was supposed to be a communal project as well, but with people who could actually design levels. See, now you're in an ice world. And hopping around. It's got spikes as a theme because you could have icicles and shards like that. That makes sense. You have the snow bro instead. Ice platforms to deal with, which is another fair gimmick to use in this area of the level. I guess another criticism you could have against this particular level is that it is really long. But in all honesty, most of the levels in Hacks anymore have been long since. Oh, I don't even know. Before I made Hacks 101. Hacks 101 had exceptionally short levels, even though I based them all on the same length as the original game's levels. But yeah, so you see the ice level stuff. This is the dark section. It uses gimmicks related to darkness. I don't really like the idea of having a forced dark level section, but it can be done. The monsters here are again different. I feel like that someone should have animated a different palette for the coin for this area so that it shines slightly differently. But yeah, it's very dark, and I'm not a fan of the dark. You couldn't even read that. That was a thing that was overlooked. Unless it actually said nothing and that was part of the concept. Which is also possible. And then there should be one more section, or at least there was. Oh, no, it goes back to... I guess he got rid of one. There was at one point a section... I thought it had a secret exit, doesn't it? 31, 32. I wouldn't be surprised. SNN probably still doesn't think very highly of me as a person. Was overshadowed currently we use Pixie and GPS. Have a good night, Rogue, if you're even still here. I guess he doesn't go back to it. But yeah, I thought it was a beautiful level. I thought it looked great. I thought it had a lot of charm to it, and I thought it was doing something really cool. Have a good night. But in all, I really thought that there was a lot that was poorly handled in the end, but I don't necessarily know that I could have done any better when it comes to the way A2MT ended up. The biggest problem I would have had continuing to lead the project forward is as the managers and co-managers kept changing. As I said, I'm not particularly good at Mario, and you wouldn't want to try and trust me to set the challenge rating for something, especially something that Raikkow does, because Raikow's a million times better at hacks than me. And in the end, it did suffer from, there were places where while the levels weren't too hard for him, they were tedious enough that he had Grumpy Cow episodes, and I hate Grumpy Cow episodes. I hate him, hate him, hate him. I don't enjoy Raikkow when he's all burnt out and frustrated, even if he's not angry and all, like, I always used to call it Angry Cow, but he insists he has never really gotten particularly angry since, at least at that time, he hadn't been angry since Mari Ari. And, I just don't like it. I like him being silly, rambly nonsense at Raikkow. But I also like Mario hacks. I think that there's a lot of charm in it. I feel like Super Mario World, especially when it's tweaked to have more graphical flair and flourish, instead of... Because the original Super Mario World, one big criticism I have is if the background... I mean, you see a lot of the whole background in the background a lot, because there's not much flourish. There are a couple levels with bushes and a couple levels with a couple other things, but if you compare it to something like Super Mario Bros. 3, which I don't like as much, but at least there's a lot of times where there's little things that you see, like little grass bits or little things that add to the aesthetic of the level. That was one of the things that I appreciated getting to do. A2MT though, I made 3 levels for it. Well, I made 2 levels for it, and then I did, like I said, where someone else designed the level and I went back and did it, and that was the level that Raikkow made, called Goofy Grotto. which, if I remember correctly, he came to me and said, do you want to do a level where you and I work together? And I said, I'd absolutely love to do that. He said, I got an idea, but I think it'd be something that you would enjoy doing. I want you to make a level based around based around the goofy guy from VIP that you seem to like so much. And so I was like, I got it. I can definitely do that. And so we did it. Really good up here on 38th Yump. Oh yeah. And I didn't like Yump. I didn't like any of his. I don't like hard hacks. I don't like VIP. I don't like tedious hacks. I don't like ones where you have to go do nonsense or frustrating, obnoxious precision jumps or instant death stupid things or ASM nonsense that is just there to make it more difficult, or awkward, uncomfortable controls that you don't have any time to learn and you're already thrown right into the thick of things. I don't like that. I like basic Mario style Super Mario World where the ASM assists in making a Mario hack. Super Mario World isn't made to play Pac-Man. If you make a Pac-Man thing in it, it's impressive ASM production. It's cool. It's a good practice idea for learning how to use the ASM. It is not good for an actual level that someone is supposed to play. That's not the physics that are in it. That's not the mechanics that are in it. That's not the idea of how Super Mario World is shaped. And so if you start making it too different from Super Mario World, it becomes one of those things where you're not playing the game to have fun anymore. You're spending time trying to learn the mechanics. And so that's why I don't like those over-the-top nonsense ASM hacks. I think they do some impressive stuff, but I don't think that the outcome is particularly playable in a demonstrative, this is a good game kind of concept. I like the things they do, but I consider them kind of like mine is a tech demo for making aesthetics. I consider them to be tech demos for what you can do with ASM. I don't consider them to be something that you go to as a game you play to play a game. I see them as a game you play to see what can be done at the current time with ASM technology. That's my interpretation, anyway. That's my thoughts on it. That said, I do have to work tomorrow. It's getting late. I have lots of opinions on all this stuff. I might do a social hour sometime like this where I can just chat. I do find this fun. I don't usually have enough of an audience though where I can do this, so I haven't usually even tried to do it. Usually it's either 0 viewers or 1 viewer who's not typing in the chat. But that said, I should probably be getting to bed here soon. It is now past 10 o'clock and I work in the morning. So I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, night, afternoon, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. I hope to see you again real soon. And take care.